was working with somebody the other day. I think it was in this class. I was just thinking, I want to keep you in the moment because I can see people planning their next line. Like if you start to think, okay, here comes my next line, and I'm doing that. And I'm saying, well, you're not in the moment. Or sometimes people are thinking about, they should have done that line better, the last line that they did. Right. So how do you stay in the moment? Siobhan, what did you learn from that part?
Yeah, I mean, mainly like thinking your character's thoughts, right? Not kind of thinking about delivering the line or or just saying, okay, this is how I thought about it before, and this is how I'm going to look at it. You got to just be in the moment, listen to your partner, and then think your thoughts, and then that sort of gets your next line out there.
But your thoughts, that's
Yeah.
pretty vague, isn't it? Because you have to choose of all the thoughts your characters could have, what are you going to think about? What came to me about being in the moment is that when you are speaking, I mean, you're not just thinking random character thoughts when you're talking to somebody. What are you thinking about? Every word you say in order. It takes so much concentration to think this word, then that word, then this word, then that word. And what are you thinking about the word? You're thinking about how can it affect that other person in the best way possible. You're going to say the whole sentence in a way, the best way possible. But as you come to the different words, they have different purposes within the sentence, don't they? Every word has a different purpose. It's like the scene I was just watching. I saw Cesar was saying something, and if I have to do it within this amount of time in 8 hours, right? But he just went, I have to do it in this amount of time in 8 hours. He's trying to convince somebody to do that he needs to help him. But he didn't change anything on the 8 hours. Sure, the whole sentence had urgency in it, but there was no difference in the 8 hours than what he just said about they strapped a bomb on me and I have to rob a bank in 8 hours, right? Doesn't that 8 hours is so little time, or they're going to blow me up. Now, all those thoughts are different from each other, aren't they? So in order to stay in the moment, you've got to think what each word means as you say it. Now they go by really, really fast, right? They go by so fast, but you've got to change your thoughts on every word. So you've got to think what they mean as you say them. That keeps you in the moment. Because the thing is, you can't say more than one word at a time, can you? Try to say 2 words at once. It's impossible. It's totally impossible. So as you say the word, you think what it means. And that will keep you engaged at all times. Right? Now, what about when you're listening? What do you think about? What are you thinking when somebody's talking?
I guess it depends on who it is and what they're saying and how I'm feeling, but usually
you're talking back to them.
I'm thinking in my head of like what I am going to say, or
not what you're going to say. No, you talk back to them. You're saying, what do you mean? That's not true. What? You mean disintegrated? Right? Whatever they're saying, as you hear it. No, it takes, how much time does it take for their voice to hit your ears and for you to know what they're saying? That's what keeps you in the moment of listening. And as you hear it, as it enters your ears and your brain interprets it, you talk back to them as though you're speaking to them word by word by word that you hear. You don't wait until they finish the whole sentence and then react and go, really? Right? And I see actors do that all the time. They're doing this as they listen. Because they're waiting and then they react and then they get ready to say their line. instead of talking back the entire time the other person is speaking, going, that can't be true. What do you mean? Right? So if you're talking back all the time, reacting to every word you hear, word by word by word, because they can only say one word at a time too. And you can only hear one word at a time. So words keep you in the moment as they pass you by. Right? Does that all make sense to everybody? Anybody have any questions about that? Is that what you've been doing? Have you all been talking back to the person that's talking to you while you are being quiet, while you're not saying anything?
Trying.
Couple of yeses, but I'm a little shocked and appalled that nobody could tell me what they need to think. You know, that is thinking, isn't it? It's thinking to talk back to somebody in your mind, right? Their thoughts, even though it's actually exactly like talking. It's exactly like talking, except your lips don't move and your voice isn't being activated, right? The person says, I stole something. And I go, what in the hell? You stole something? Right? Now, I don't say anything yet. I'm shocked and all that kind of stuff. And I go, okay, did you see me think, what in the hell? You stole something? Right? Now everything moves, right? My whole body does exactly the same thing as if I said, what in the hell? You stole something? It's the same as talking. Listening and talking are exactly the same thing, only you don't make any noise. Yes, Hunter?
So sometimes your thoughts are just triggered automatically, right? Well, usually they are, but like sometimes you consciously think to yourself, like how do I want to go about this? Use my words and then sometimes you don't think though in real life, right? Sometimes it's just like the thoughts come naturally.
Well, yeah, what they say triggers you to say, God, I don't know what to say. I better think of something, right? But those are thoughts. I don't know what to say. What am I supposed to say to you? But that's a thought and that's talking, right?
There's a lot of thoughts like in real life that go through our minds. Like I feel like that is hard to replicate when you're acting.
Right, right. But you know what? The best thing to do is to not do nothing.
Yeah.
So listen, hear what they're saying, react to it, and talk to them in your mind. And your talking thoughts lead you into what you have to say. So you know how you feel because you know what your next line is, right? So those thoughts have to lead you into that line. So there's no break. You don't need to stop, react, and speak. Haven't you guys felt yourself doing that sometimes? Because I've seen you all do it, right? Right. And you don't need to stop and react. You're thinking, what in the hell? How can you say that? And then they say, you know what? I'm not going to even listen to this anymore. Right. But doesn't that come straight out of the thoughts you just had? It's got to lead right in. So it's a stream of consciousness that's either thought of or spoken. Right? You're either thinking or you're speaking. That's all. And when you're speaking, you're thinking of what your words mean. And when you're listening, you're talking back and hearing their word one at a time so that you can figure out what they're saying and reacting to it. Does that all make sense to everyone? It's like the crux of what my technique is about. Because it keeps you as your character and not thinking your own thoughts. When you're thinking your own thoughts, like, God, I just didn't say that right. What's my next line? But if you're listening, you're going to know what your next line is because it's going to be the obvious reaction to what they've just said, right?